From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network, from Alabama's International University, this is Troy TrojanVision Midday.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Midday for August 23rd of 2017. I'm Brady Talbert and thank you for joining us this evening. The availability and convenience of parking always seems to be one of the biggest issues Troy University students have when it comes to campus life. However, before the end of the semester, over 500 new spaces will be added to the campus. Seth Hawks spoke to some students and got their opinions.
With Troy University's ever-growing student population, problems are sure to arise, and that is what is happening with Troy's student parking, as students have trouble finding parking on campus. Over the summer, Troy began construction on a new parking lot across from the Trojan Center, and the completion date is now only months away.
Now, as you can see behind me, the new parking lot is nothing but dirt right now, but that is not stopping the students about being hopeful about what this new parking lot will mean for Troy University. I had the chance to get some student opinions today about the new parking lot.
There's not really a problem. There's just a bunch of people who are too lazy to walk in some instance that feel like they need a parking space.
Adding parking will definitely benefit the university as a whole. We already have a problem with parking. I personally drove to campus yesterday and looked for parking, but ended up having to drive back to my apartment and walk to class because I couldn't find any parking. So we definitely need more parking, so I think it'll benefit to add another parking lot.
Definitely when people come, one of the biggest things that come up is parking, and because that's what you hear mostly from students on social media. So I think that when parents see that we do have more parking, that is a big plus for the university.
I'm really excited about this parking lot. We've been hearing about these issues for a long time with people with parking, and I'm glad the students are getting to see that we're actually doing something about it. We've brought their concerns to the administration. We've said, here's what we want. We need more parking, and they've taken an area where it wasn't much use, and they've said, okay, we're going to give you some, and that's really exciting for us to see, like, actual change happening.
The new parking lot will have 548 additional parking spots, and the expected completion date will be sometime in late autumn. Seth Hawk, Troy TrojanVision News.
The lot is expected to be completed before the end of the fall semester. One of the solutions to finding a parking spot on campus is to simply ride the bus to school. Shuttle buses run from a number of off-campus housing locations to campus every day. But what can students do to catch the bus? Turns out there's an app for that. Kawana Clark explains.
Troy University students using the school shuttle bus system can keep track of routes and bus locations on their smartphones with the TransLock app. The app shows each of the 5 color bus routes through town as well as stops along each route. The app will even tell you exactly where your bus is along the route.
Each route has a dedicated stop according to the route it's associated with. We encourage our students to download what we call the TransLock Rider app, where they're able to real-time track the location of the bus. That tracking will allow them to be able to see what time that bus will arrive at their location, so that they're not having to wait to the last minute and rush out to catch the bus to get here on campus.
University officials hope that the TransLock app will make the shuttle system easier and more convenient for students to use, therefore encouraging more students to make use of the system.
Well, in regards to what our students say about parking here on campus, it's very convenient that way, where you don't have to try to find a parking spot. We'll just simply come to you and be able to get you to campus. And there's also a convenience factor to the regards that it allows the students to be able to communicate to us directly through that app if they're encountering any problems with the busing system.
The app even has on-demand requests for transport available after hours if students are looking for a ride.
Yes, you do have to turn on your location, and when you're utilizing that app, you're actually able to be able to locate the location of the buses between the hours of 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. After 4 p.m., you won't be able to locate the bus, but you can utilize what we call the ridership, where you can be able to make an appointment for a pickup location if it's at your living quarters, and we'll come by your living quarters and bring you onto campus.
Kawana Clark, Troy TrojanVision News.
The TransLock app is available for both Android and Apple products and is free to download. Troy University students have the chance to participate in student government through the SGA Senate. And starting this week, students will have the chance to become a part of this year's Senate by applying for some seats that opened up after the spring. Justin Walker has the story.
The Student Government Association is needing to fill Senate seats left after the spring semester. However, these vacancies are specifically for students living in certain campus housing dorms.
So we have a vacancy election coming up. Last spring we had like the big SGA election and we got most of the seats filled, but there are 46 seats and we didn't fill all of them. So we have about 5 or 6 seats that we still need to fill, and those are mostly dorm seats.
If you are a student living in Cowart, Hamel, Gardner, Newman, Pace, or in the specialty housing, you're eligible to run.
It's anyone in like the selected dorms. It can be freshmen, upperclassmen, anyone, as long as you're living in that dorm.
In addition to submitting an application and a $10 fee, a 2.3 GPA is required to run. The applications will be made available this Wednesday.
They will open this Wednesday, which is August 23rd, and they will open at 8 a.m. on Trojan Connection, and they will close the following Wednesday, which is August 30th at 4 p.m. And the $10 application fee is also due August 30th at 4 p.m.
According to Holt, the elected senators are expected to be the voice of their fellow residents living in their respective dorms, as well as the student body as a whole.
These senators are expected to speak on behalf of the student body, just a voice for the students, as well as all the other senators are, but especially like within their dorms, since that's who they're representing, just making sure life in college is great for all of those students.
For more information on these Senate vacancies, you can email Holt at tholt@troy.edu.
Once again, applications for the vacated Senate seats are available today. Interested students can find them at troycollegiatelink.net. The vacancy election will be held Wednesday, September 6th. And now for a look at what's happening across the country and around the world. We go to Alexis Forbes at the Global News Desk.
President Trump heads to Arizona today for a campaign-style rally. The White House says the president will tout his accomplishments from his first 8 months in office, but protesters plan to be out in force to demonstrate against the president and his policies. Mola Langhi has more details from the White House.
Protests in Phoenix began well before President Trump arrived in Arizona.
We're here today to form a unity, to march, rally, and protest the politics of hate.
Phoenix's Democratic mayor asked the president to delay his campaign-style rally over concerns protests may turn violent, like the one in Charlottesville, Virginia.
I believe the true intention is to really inflame people's passion to further divide the country, and that's why I said that the president should delay this trip to Phoenix.
Phoenix police and protesters have clashed in the past, and officials say they don't want to go through that again.
I will assure you that we are well prepared.
The president himself stirred some controversy when he retweeted a Fox News story claiming he's considering pardoning controversial former Arizona Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Arpaio, a big Trump supporter, faces up to 6 months in jail after a federal judge ruled his office carried out illegal traffic patrols targeting immigrants.
It will be a slap in the face and a miscarriage of justice if this individual is pardoned.
The president is unlikely to pardon Arpaio during this trip, but he is likely to tout tougher border security and call on Congress to pass funding for the border wall. Mola Langhi, CBS News, the White House.
The U.S. Navy says divers have found bodies aboard the guided missile destroyer ship that collided with an oil tanker near Singapore Monday. Search and rescue crews are looking for 10 sailors. Now the Navy is temporarily suspending all ship operations worldwide. Nikki Batiste has the latest.
U.S. Navy divers are searching for 10 missing sailors inside flooded compartments on the USS John McCain.
The divers were able to locate some remains in those sealed compartments.
The compartments were machinery and communication rooms, as well as a crew sleeping area. The Navy hasn't said how many bodies it's located, but the Malaysian Navy has announced it's found one. The guided missile destroyer ship collided with an oil tanker near Singapore Monday. This is the 4th major collision in the Pacific this year, the 2nd in just the last 2 months. 7 sailors died in the USS Fitzgerald collision in June. Now the Navy is temporarily suspending all ship operations worldwide.
I've directed a more comprehensive review to ensure that we get at the contributing factors, the root causes of these incidents.
The Navy says the operational pause will give ship commanders a chance to review basic seamanship and teamwork, but it's also looking into whether cyber intrusion or sabotage may have played a part. China is using the latest incident to accuse the U.S. of negligence in waters it claims as its own. An editorial in the state-owned China Daily today says the U.S. Navy is becoming a dangerous obstacle in Asian waters and posing a threat to navigation. Nikki Batiste for CBS News, New York.
And that's your news from across the country and around the world. Now back to you, Brady.
Coming up on Troy TrojanVision Midday, the Troy University Concert Chorale has the chance to play at Carnegie Hall. We'll learn how you can help get them there in today's Trojan Talk. Plus, it's been a slightly raining morning. What can we expect for the remainder of the week? Page Weeks will let us know coming up in weather.
From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network, now your weather on Troy TrojanVision Midday.
I'm Paige Weeks. Lately, we've been seeing usual summer-like weather, and as we go through the rest of our week, that trend will remain the same. We do have some chances of rain in the next few days, and I'll talk more about that in just a moment, but first, let's take a look at our current conditions. So currently our skies are partly cloudy. Our temperature is only really at 83 degrees, but that relative humidity is what's making it feel pretty miserable outside right now. It's at 85%. Our pressure is at 30 inches and our winds are variable. Our daily almanac shows us so far today we've reached a high of 85 degrees and a low of about 73 degrees, so pretty warm temperatures as we're looking. Not much rain, about 0.2 inches, but we did have some showers here and there earlier this morning. Now, taking a look at temperatures, Huntsville's at 82, Birmingham is at 78, Mobile's at 86, Montgomery's at 87 degrees. Here in Troy, it's 85 degrees. The Phoenix City, Auburn area is seeing 85 degrees, and Dothan is falling at 86, so pretty warm temperatures all around. If you zoom out a little more, you can see 80s and mid to low 90s are what pretty much the rest of the country is seeing as well. Really, for us, it's that humidity that's making it feel so warm out. It's not really the temperature, it's just that humidity. Now, as far as rain goes, we've talked about this before. No severe weather is going to be in our area, but there will be showers here and there among the states. Here in Alabama, pretty much lower Alabama is where the rain we're going to be seeing today. Now, as we move throughout tomorrow, the rain is slowly going to start to rise and come our way. That's why we're going to have about a 50-50 chance of rain and sunshine, partly cloudy. That's what we're going to be seeing the next couple of days. Now Friday, some severe weather right up by Rapid City over in the other part of our country, but for us, really no severe weather, so that is the good news. Although there will be rain here and there across the next couple of days, no severe weather to speak of. Now Saturday, unfortunately, if you had any outdoor weekend plans, those plans might have to be moved indoors because the day is pretty much going to be filled with showers. Now, not all day, but pretty much every other hour is when we're going to be seeing those showers come near us, and the same for Sunday too. Now, as far as tonight goes, mostly cloudy with a low of 74 degrees. Winds coming at us from the northwest at 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 90 degrees. Winds coming at us from the north at 5 miles per hour. Taking a look now at your 4-day forecast. Thursday, a 30% chance of rain. That 30% chance of rain is going to follow us all the way into Sunday. Thursday, a high of 90 and a low of 71. Friday, a high of 89 and a low of 71 as well. Saturday, a high of 87 and a low of 69, then Sunday a high of 84 and a low of 67. So really not any severe weather. No. The humidity is what's making it miserable. Yeah. But we can get through this week, and hopefully those temperatures are going to keep cooling off.
Crazy Alabama weather. I was walking here, it was raining, and by the time I got here,
dry.
It was dry.
Yep.
So thank you for the weather today, Paige. Coming up on Troy TrojanVision News, over 1,000 robots met up to do the robot. Check out the record-breaking dance party coming up. And the Trojan football team is fine-tuning their defense in preparation for the season opener. Nova PV will give us a look in today's sports.
Now, the latest in Trojan sports on Troy TrojanVision Midday.
Soccer team picked up their first win under the Jed O'Connor era last night in the capital city. The Trojans defeated Alabama State 2-0 Tuesday night at the ASU Soccer Complex in Montgomery. Coralie Stone and Julia Winter each scored for the first time in 2017, both on crosses from Haley Roberson. Troy attempted 16 shots in the game, a season high. Winter led the way with 4, while Stone, Baker, and Kirsten Edelin attempted 3 each. Troy hosted its second home match of the season as Murray State pays a visit to Detroit Soccer Complex Friday night. Kickoff is set for 5 p.m. The Trojan defense was one of the best in the Sun Belt last season, and there's still plenty of time to perfect their outstanding season play before the kickoff against Boise State. Sarah Drake shows us how this year's defense is preparing to take the field.
Last year, the Trojan defense was one of the top 10 teams in turnover margin. The team forced 30 turnovers in 13 games, and even though the entire secondary is returning this season, defensive coordinator Vic Koning talked about how this year's team is still developing.
We have got to make a lot of improvement from last year, and our guys will tell you right now that we're preparing against Georgia Southern, Boise, New Mexico State, LSU. So every day they're seeing a new package, and we're banking reps right now in camp. We're getting ready for the whole season.
Koning and senior cornerback Jalen Harris said being able to go against Troy's offense helps to prepare them for the season.
Silvers isn't any fun to go against every day, no question about that. You know, we'll be covering a guy, and we'll be under and over, and he'll throw a grenade shot in there like, come on, man. It helps when you're going against really good receivers every day.
I feel like we have some of the best receivers in college football, really. So it helps out like going against those guys every day. You know, Silver's one of the best quarterbacks in college football, so it's definitely a tremendous help.
And with kickoff against Boise State less than 2 weeks away, Koning spoke about what the Trojan defense will expect from the Broncos offense.
We're going to have to do our level best to line up and play. They play with a lot of tight ends, which is different for us, and we're going to have to be able to line up to a tight end oriented offense that we really haven't had that much of.
The Trojan defense is still working to build depth in the front seven and establish a new linebacker core. Sarah Drake, Troy, Trojan Vision Sports.
Fans will get the chance to see how this year's defense looks when they take on the Broncos September 2nd. The volleyball team's first season with new head coach Josh Lauer starts on Friday with the Trojans traveling to Columbia, South Carolina. This begins their first 4-game road trip where the Trojans will play 3 games in the South Carolina Gamecock Invitational. The team will face off against North Florida, South Carolina, and Mercer for traveling to Kennesaw, Georgia to take on the Kennesaw State Owls. The Trojans will return home on September 1st when they host the Troy Invitational, where they'll play Northwestern State, Winthrop, and Jackson State. So I think it's really good. They're just jumping right into the season, getting really busy, and the soccer team's doing pretty good to start off their year as well.
The volleyball team, let me tell you, they sound so busy, and I know they're excited to get back out there on that court.
I would be too.
Troy University's concert chorale received an invitation to perform at Carnegie Hall. Aaron Taylor learns about how you can help them get there in today's edition of Trojan Talk.
Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we're going to find out how the concert chorale can possibly make a trip to world famous Carnegie Hall. And my guest today, Diane Orlowski, is going to tell us how they can get there and how you could potentially help them get there, because they're going to need a little bit of help. But before we get to talking about how folks can help out, let's talk about how this all happened, how an invitation to Carnegie Hall was extended.
This was really exciting and unexpected, Aaron, and thank you for having me on here. We have a relationship that we've developed since 2011 with composer-conductor Eric Barnum. We've commissioned 2 works from him, and we just premiered one for the people that come regularly to our concerts. We'll remember Evensong. We just premiered this in April. And so I thought, that's lovely. We have 2 lovely bookends, and that will be great. And then I received an email from him back in April saying, would you consider doing this? And I was like, would I consider it? And then a formal invitation followed to next May take the chorale and participate in a premiere of a multi-movement work by Dr. Barnum, in addition to the Troy University Commission piece, Evensong, which will also be getting its Carnegie Hall premiere, which is super cool.
So the piece that was done specifically
for this group,
they get the chance to perform it
in that venue, and it's so very, very special. It's a limited number of choirs that have been involved, about 120 singers, I think, total. We have 36 of those 120, And it's definitely something that I think the kids they were very excited about, but they're going to work very hard for.
Work very hard, meaning they're going to practice, right?
And practice.
And practice it, because I hear that's how you get to Carnegie Hall.
That's how you get there, yeah, apparently.
I couldn't help myself there.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
But let's talk a little about kind of an interesting background to this was that you're kind of, by getting this invitation, you're fulfilling a mandate. And so that's kind of got a little funniness to it, but it's still, there was a mandate by...
It's very special. Back when they were building the new John M. Long Hall, Dr. Hawkins was showing me around when it was still in construction phase, and he came over and he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Okay, now we're building this for all of you. Now get us to Carnegie." And I thought to myself, yeah, okay, Dr. Hawkins, no tall order there. And so it was very gratifying for me then to surprisingly be able to go back to him and say, "Guess what, Dr. Hawkins, we now have an invitation."
Invitation to make it there. And in addition to the performance, there's going to be opportunities when they get there. They're going to basically hit the ground running when they get there. So.
Yeah, and they'll be in rehearsals with Dr. Barnum for 3 days. And they will have, we don't actually get the music until December.
Okay.
So we'll be starting to work on it in January. And May 25th, 2018, anyone that's in the New York area at Carnegie Hall that Friday night, we'd love to see them there.
Now let's talk about a little bit of the if, because there is significant amount of money needed to get them there, and about how much are you looking at here?
We're looking at about $1,500 per student. That covers the entire thing, which is about $55,000 total. And for that's a lot of money. However, our kids were so excited about the prospect. They're home right now trying to raise sponsorships in their hometown. I'm doing that here locally in Troy. We've reached out to the Connecticut, New York, and New Jersey alums because a lot of our kids work 2 and 3 jobs to stay in school. And so we would love to have sponsors to say, I want to help them, even with a small seed grant. To the Troy University Foundation, which of course is tax deductible.
And of course, and once again, they're working hard, but right now, you've got the viewers out here and anybody out there, if they want to see this dream fulfilled, and this is a big dream for the students in this choir and yourself, what do they need to do? How can they help out? What is the easiest way to put you guys on a plane to New York?
Well, I mean, they can contact me at Troy Choral at troy.edu if they have questions. We have a musician Facebook page that they can contact and reach out to us or follow our progress as we go through. They can go online to Troy University Foundation and in the search engine put in Concert Chorale, and they can give electronically or just mail me, old-fashioned, stick it in the mail. And just say, I'd like to be a sponsor for the Troy University Concert Chorale.
All right, well, good luck in the fundraising efforts, and good luck on the trip. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure we'll probably bring you back again once we get a little more updates on how things are going. So,
I'd love to come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk.
Parents will do almost anything to keep their children safe, but sometimes they don't realize that the medications that make us healthier could be dangerous to the little ones. Kim Hutcherson has some medication safety tips for parents in today's Health Minute.
So most medications, whether it be over-the-counter medications, prescription, herbal medications, it's always best to keep them out of sight and out of reach of children.
Advice for caregivers from medical experts on how to keep kids away from potentially dangerous medicines. And it's not just prescriptions or over-the-counter medications you have to worry about.
You have herbal medications. You have even creams. There are children that ingest creams because it's something they don't think about as medication. Eye drops, hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer has alcohol in it, and something as simple as just rubbing alcohol, peroxide. These are things that, if ingested by a child, can be very harmful.
Keep kids' medicine in its original packaging, not a pill planner.
But you run into the risk of not knowing what the medication's for. You have so many medications that look alike. If it's not in the exact bottle that it comes in, then you could be overdosing or underdosing.
Instead of leaving medicine out so you remember it, take advantage of technology.
So I would definitely recommend setting those alarms on your phone to remind you to take your medication. And when you do have the medication to take, whether it's for a child or for an adult, you definitely want to make sure it's stored out of the reach of children.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
A celestial event aspires a blessed event. And who says robots can't dance? Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Check out this heavy metal dance party. 1,069 pint-sized robots named Dobby boogied in unison in China, setting a new world record for the most robots dancing simultaneously. A central control system was used to execute the synchronized robot routine, and Guinness was on hand to confirm the funky feat. Question: if a group of robots are dancing, does that automatically mean they're doing the robot? Mind blown. While millions of Americans marveled at the total solar eclipse,
Oh my God!
a South Carolina couple marveled at their own little eclipse. In honor of her birth on August 21st, Michael and Freedom Eubanks named their newborn Eclipse Elizabeth. She weighed in at 6 pounds, 3 ounces, and measured 19 inches long. The couple had originally planned to name her Violet, but when she decided to show up on the historic day, they just couldn't resist.
We're all born on just, normal days, but, you never really get to experience, wow, my child is born on something that happens every so many years. It's extremely, extremely rare.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, we are just about out of time, but before we go, let's take another look at weather. Paige, what is it looking like for the next few days?
Well, Brady, as we go into tomorrow, partly sunny with a high of 90 degrees, winds coming at us from the north at 5 miles per hour. Now, that partly sunny does not mean that there will be no showers. Be aware and be prepared for there to be some showers here and there as we go throughout the day. It's same thing for our 4-day forecast. If you look at the rest of our week, you can see really 30% chance is what's going to follow us all the way to Sunday, but that doesn't mean that the chances are slim for the rain. That means that they're going to be spotty everywhere across Alabama and the country as we move throughout the rest of the week. Again, though, like I said, no severe weather, and most of the time it will be partly sunny, so the sun will shine through those clouds as we go throughout the day, but have your umbrella and your rain jacket just for those couple of hours where there'll be some showers here and there. That's your forecast. Now back to the news desk.
Thanks, Paige. That's all the time we have for today's Troy Trojan Vision Midday. From all of us here at Trojan Vision, thanks for joining us and have a wonderful Wednesday.